here for another episode of Choose Your Path with me, your host, celebrity publicist Sherontelle Dirskell, motivational speaker, and best-selling author of the #1 habit series for entrepreneurial success. Thank you so much. Hello. Thank you guys for being here. Can you please tell me you can hear me? Because every time in the beginning, sometimes you can't even hear what I'm saying. Hello. Hello. I hope that the sound check, microphone check, 1, 2, 3. Yes, you can hear me. Awesome. Okay. Hey, Brenda. Hey, Charlene. Awesome. Thank you, guys. Oh, we are here and I'm excited. Are you guys ready? Because I am. I am definitely ready. Maybe. I know that it's probably not going to play the sound. And my guest is here. Yes. Oh, my goodness. Let's see. Okay. All right. I want to make sure that we got everything and we're ready. Okay. Let's bring on my guest. Let's go. Right. Hi, Desiree. Are we ready for another Choose Your Path? Hello, 10K cards. Yay. Thank you so much, Desiree. Look at your hearts, the purple hearts. Yay. Thank you. High five. Right and the left and both. Thank you. Hey, Sasha.
I'm living forever, girl.
10K cards. Let's see. It says connecting. Nope. Uh-oh. Not able to get on. Oh, no. Hello. Hey, Duran Hightower. Hello. Yes, I do. And I welcome him, but it didn't let him come in. I don't know. Maybe he's having some technical difficulties. Let's try again.
There we
Okay.
go.
There we go. See? Yay! Oh my goodness. Thank you for coming on to Choose Your Path. I really appreciate you being here. This is
Of course.
exciting.
Thank you so much for
Yes.
having me.
So what I do is I kind of just get on into the conversation.
I
This is
love it.
something that I came up with right in the beginning of the pandemic.
Good.
All of my events and everything was canceled, right? So I'm
Gotcha.
here at home and I'm like, okay, what do I do? What's next? And I
Yeah,
always say, Magic Johnson favorite quote, entrepreneurs always have to be ready to adapt and adjust. So this is
definitely.
just my way of adapting and adjusting, bringing on friends, having conversations, people that I'm inspired by. And Shantae Gibson, Tyree's sister, she,
Yeah.
she referred, she's like, no,
Awesome.
you gotta, I was like, oh, okay, all right, cool. This is
I
awesome. So
love it.
I'm
Oh, thank
so
you so
grateful
much.
and I'm so happy. Yes, I'm so grateful that you're here. So we have musician, singer, songwriter,
Yeah.
producer, and engineer. You know,
Oh,
sometimes
yeah.
how did that come about?
Um, Honestly, I have been a studio rat since I was probably 3 or 4 years old. I would be on my dad's hip, watching him produce, be in the booth, and I would also be right on his engineer's hip, just watching, just studying, making sure that whenever I got that opportunity, I would be ready, just like you're saying,
Right.
and um, from there, I feel like I've had a studio literally in my bedroom since I was probably 11 years old. So in terms of my 10,000 hours, I'm really probably closer to like 300,000 just in the studio. Um,
Yeah.
and I always wanted to be as self-sufficient as I could be because I write so fast and I record so fast. It helps that I really don't have to worry about waiting on anybody and I can get my ideas out just so fast. So fast forward from 11 now to 31. I've pretty much been working for 20 years. So through that, I've definitely acquired all those skills, man, just to be able to not only help myself now, but the artists I work with. So they know that one-stop shop. They don't have to pay a whole bunch of people. They can just pay me.
Yeah, no, that's what I'm like, producer
Yeah,
and engineer. That is absolutely amazing. I know I was probably
very
like
good.
jumping because I know I wanted to ask a few questions before that, but saying all of these titles, when you think about producer and engineer, not all producers engineer. So I just think that that is an amazing a craft that you have. What came first? The instruments?
You know what honestly came first was the songwriting. Even
The
before
songwriting,
I
okay.
believed I was a singer, I remember first grade, I was already writing songs, literally already getting in trouble for writing songs and not paying attention in class as early as first grade. So I would say I was blessed in the sense that I really learned how to craft and write a song first before I even knew what a studio was. Because it wasn't until later that I actually started going to the studio with my dad. Up until that point, I just knew I loved music and I knew my dad was a songwriter. So that was really my introduction even to being what a musician is. And from there, I just naturally gravitated to playing the piano and I still even play by ear. And from there, just putting those two things together, is what helped me find my voice. And then um, from there, it went to having my own studio, and I was already had maybe 10 or 12 songs ready to record. So I was able to just get right into the figuring out how to craft them. And that's pretty much all I've done, all my life now.
I think that is absolutely amazing. I was having a
Thank you.
conversation with my very dear friend earlier, and we were talking about how awesome it is when someone can find their niche in that
Yeah.
thing at a young age.
Oh, yeah.
For me, my experience for my world, I started in healthcare and
Nice.
I worked as an EMT, I worked as a medical assistant, I worked as a surgical tech, like all of these different things. I went to college and I studied pre-med. And
Wow.
then somewhere along on my journey, then I discovered something else. But I never felt like what I was doing in healthcare was something that I wasn't supposed to be doing. I feel
Right.
like for my path, it was something I was supposed to be doing at that time. But
Yeah.
when you find that thing that you love, though, at a young age, and then you just grow into it, then you can become this amazing musician and
Yeah.
singer and songwriter and producer and engineer. That is
Thank you.
absolutely
Thank you. Thank you.
amazing.
Thank you.
Yeah. So, how are you doing during this pandemic? How?
Um, to be quite honest, this has probably been, as an artist, the best few months I've ever had. The pandemic being locked down, especially out here in LA with how crazy it got, I was really forced to kind of go into my cocoon and really finish and be able to really plot out a lot of the ideas that I just had, just ideas that I had. I was really able to really get a lot done, which has really led to a lot of the, end of the year success I've been blessed
Oh,
with. And I'm just
nice.
so thankful. Not that we didn't have our rough patches, obviously, being away from my family out on the East Coast. My mama and them are all in
Mm.
North Carolina, where I would usually be at this point, if not.
Oh,
So, the family thing has been difficult. But luckily for me, the one thing that I can go to that I know will definitely help get me out of my funk is making some funk. So I thank God every day that not only is what I do my career, but it is that thing where I don't like to call it an escape, but it does allow me to kind of release, it's that making music and writing songs and singing the songs, even if I'm just in the studio, is really that thing that keeps me at bay. It keeps me from going crazy, from missing my family. And it really, through this pandemic, it's really helped me just become even more efficient as an artist and even as a businessman, managing myself and then leading me to finding all these great people who have come into my life as of late. It's really been an accelerant for me, honestly. So I've just tried my best to use that energy to just give back all this love that I've received because I know the world could use it a lot right now, you know?
Absolutely. I think
Yeah,
it's important for us to express our gifts. And
yeah,
she said, yes, it forces us to express our inner gifts. Yeah. Because this, for me, like having these conversations, this is my jish. Like, I
yeah.
love to be on stage. I love to be in front of, someone and talking. So
I
this is
love it.
my way, I feel, of giving back. Someone, hopefully, when they listen to our conversations, they hear something if they haven't found that gift and
Right.
realize that they can actually create during this time. If your business has failed, it's time to create a new one.
Yeah,
I think that sometimes in certain situations, it just kind of forces us to figure it out, right? Because nobody is coming to
definitely.
save you.
No, not at all.
Nobody is,
I literally
nobody is
wrote
coming to
that
save
song.
me. Really,
That was one of the first ones, literally one of the
nobody.
first joints was that, you know, you kind of have to forge your way. And even now with my little ones, my son is 6. I'm constantly talking to him about not necessarily even getting caught up in, whatever you are supposed to do is going to be and all that, not to get too caught up in your head about not necessarily knowing where you want to be and just going after what you love, getting out here, experiencing some life, even as a kid, to try to, at the very least, just find what makes you happy. And then from there,
Yes.
I think what this pandemic, even 2020 in itself, kind of forced people to do was figure you out.
Yes, exactly.
Despite the virus, despite, the people who have lost loved ones and people that are struggling, I think
Mm.
the other side of that has definitely been, especially us entrepreneurs, like, okay, well, what are we going to do now? And I think the remnants and what will come from this time are going to be incredible for us, even just as a humanity. I feel like, the next few years are going to get dicey, but it's necessary for us to get to where I think we all want to be. So,
I
I'm
absolutely
optimistic
think
about it.
that. No, you have to be. I think that if we keep a positive mindset on anything that we go through, it'll
Yeah,
determine our outcome, right? No matter what.
definitely.
Like, I think
Definitely.
even with external events, people try to feel like they can control everything. And we can't, that's one thing we can't control is whatever is happening on the outside. We
Come
can
on.
only control what happens on the inside.
Exactly.
It, you know what? I almost got lost in a song that I was listening to. I think it was like find your way home, find your home.
Yeah.
Yeah, I almost I was like, oh my God, it's 6 o'clock already because I'm in Eastern Standard Time. And I said, oh my God, I got to get on. I was
I love
listening to
it.
the song and I absolutely love it because it makes you feel as if I was on an amazing Zoom call with my sponsor today, 10K Cards, and we were
Awesome.
talking, and it's about being okay with being yourself. That was my
Yeah.
takeaway, right? Be yourself. And so when I listened to the song, it was just definitely confirmation because what happens is for some weird reason, a lot of people feel like when you found that thing that you love and you're doing it, such as entertainment, especially, that you're just
Yeah.
like having fun. I don't want to look at it as work because it doesn't feel like work,
Right.
but they don't really take it that serious. And in the beginning of the song, it's like, I don't even care what you think. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I'm gonna like do me. So I thought that that was a really, really dope song.
You know,
Your music is very versatile.
thank
I
you.
feel in love, right?
Yeah.
I feel that love is possible. I feel that energy, and then I feel like I can have a good time as well.
That's what we go for here. That's what we hope for.
Marry your daughter. You did that with your brother?
I did. Me and my bro. Yeah.
Your
Oh
brother
yeah.
Nico? Oh
Oh
my
yeah.
goodness, tell
That's
me
my
that
man.
process. What was the inspiration behind that? Because I absolutely love it. I mean, I would
Thank you.
do anything for a man to have had the opportunity to tell my father, may he rest in
Yeah.
peace, I want to marry your daughter.
I mean, to be honest, that in itself was the motivation, but the real story, and
Tell me
I love to tell it.
it.
About 10 years ago, when I wrote the original, um, Taylor Swift has a song. It was on the radio, and there's a line in her song that goes, I picked out a dress. No, I picked out a dress. No, no. What does he say? Talk to your dad. He said, pick out a white dress. And right then, I asked a friend of mine in my car, who happened to be a girl, I was like, have you ever heard a song from the guy's perspective talking to the dad? And she was like, no. So I
No.
literally went home that night. I wrote it, I produced it, and I recorded it. And didn't really think about it again. I thought maybe I would place it on a country artist or, something like that.
Uh-huh.
And lo and behold, the song itself actually leaks onto YouTube, and the rest has literally been history. We still have no idea how it got out, honestly. Um, but it literally was birthed from that moment. And I went home, and my brother and I, we produced it, yeah. And it's really been the song that's kind of changed my life. So it's really been a wild journey to see it go from that. Like I said, it's been maybe 10 years at the original. It's just gone and gone and gone. We're almost at 20 million streams now, completely independent. And then this year, right before the pandemic, actually, we dropped a new and enhanced version of it, because it had never been properly produced. It had never been properly released. And a buddy of mine, Chris Moose, who owns the top independent label in the Philippines, where the song literally has a home there, begged me to put a spin on it, and we finally made it happen. And the newer version is actually tracking even faster than the original. So
Oh
I'm
my
just, as a
goodness.
songwriter, I'm just so thankful and I'm so humble. And then the fact that it's a niche song and a wedding song at that, wow, the response, the love, people are constantly sending me videos of them walking down the aisle or
Yeah.
proposing to it or using it as motivation to pop the question in itself. And again, as a songwriter and as a love songwriter, that's really what I hope for. The fact that I have a song
Mm.
that can really become and will become the soundtrack for people's love, man. That's, geez, you really can't pay for that feeling.
No, not
And
at all.
I just, again, I don't take it for granted at all. And it's definitely what keeps me going, man.
I love the story behind it because it was exactly what I felt. Like,
Awesome.
because sometimes people feel like that is like so old school, I guess, for the
Yeah,
guy to come to the woman's dad and say, like, I want to marry your daughter. Like,
yeah,
that's what I envisioned when I listened to it, and how amazing that would have been for a
awesome.
man to go to my dad and say that he wants to spend
I
the
love
rest
that.
of his life with me. That,
Yeah,
I think that is so amazing to be able to be tapped into your gift and tuned with a higher being. um, just be in a zone and a vibe so that you can create something to bring value to
yes,
not just yourself, of course, but for the people. It's so amazing. Yeah,
right.
when we do that, we don't worry about what the outcome is going to be. We don't worry
Yeah,
about the numbers. You just put it out there because it was a genuine thing that you heard and you were inspired by. what does
exactly.
what does your creative process look like? Would it take me
Huh.
into that world? I'm sure it's different depending on days and stuff like that, but what is
Well,
it?
the thing for me, especially when I get asked this question, because I really have no process. And I know that a lot of people say that, but then they'll have certain rituals and things that they'll do. But for me, my process, honestly, is a spiritual thing. I allow
Mm,
myself to just be a vessel for whatever, the universe, God, Allah, whatever you want to call
yes,
it,
right.
wants me to say, knowing that I have these skills and these, I rarely go into even writing or producing with any kind of agenda, any kind of, you know, any other motivation other than, whoop, this just came through. All day, I'm ciphering through millions of melodies, millions of ideas, and there's usually one, two, three, or four, or five on a good day that stick. And what I feel like a champion of is following my first instinct. And I rarely second guess myself. And I attribute that to the fact that I've been doing this for so long. So it's like I innately know what is going to work. I don't really have to think about it, and it allows me to produce then. I guess so. What I would say my process is getting out of the way and
Oh, just letting it flow.
letting
Yep.
God flow, man. And that's kind of always as I've been since a kid. I remember in high school, I wrote maybe 300 songs between my junior and senior year. And that's literally all I did. So as a songwriter, there's never a time that I can't write a song. I could literally write a song right now.
That's
And
definitely
it's
God.
not a boast, it's not a thing, but I just, I really know how to craft a song and how to craft a song well. So I guess, yeah, when it comes to my particular process, and you can even ask my artists that work with me, they'll tell you, it's really about
That's
not forcing
amazing.
anything and just really, really feeding off whatever energy is there. If we're happy, chances are it's going to be happy. If we're going through something deep now, through all this political stuff, I've added an entirely
Right.
new topic to my writing scheme just because I'm feeling that energy, especially with social media now as a tool to kind of just jump on there, get a good sense of what's happening, and create art from it. You know, I see songs like paintings, and even the way I paint is really, really abstract. There's really never any line to it. There's no, I just go, you know, as an artist, that's where I'm at my best when I'm just firing on all cylinders and pulling from everywhere. So, you know, I might light a candle in terms of ritual, but you know, I just go, man. I just go and go until I can feel the source kind of say, all right, that's enough. And chances are that's when I go home from the studio.
Wow, that is absolutely amazing. Yeah, you're absolutely right. Sometimes people feel that they need to light a candle. They got to play certain music to get them into a zone.
Right,
They need to be in a certain place to get a vibe. For me, I always think like if it has to be that, then what if tomorrow doesn't come? What if
right,
I don't get to that place? And today
right.
I was supposed to be creating that thing.
Exactly.
We gotta
Exactly.
live in the moment. People live in the moment. I think someone was asking, how did you get into songwriting?
Songwriting.
Did it choose you?
It chose me. Oh, yeah. You
Yeah.
know, I was blessed, man, on both sides of my family to be introduced to, I mean, the best music, the best of the best music, and through every genre. You know, I have memories of music and songs that are still some of my favorite songs ever, back to 1.5, 2 years old. You know, I still freak my grandparents out all the time because I'll hit them with a memory that they're like, there's no way you remember that. And I'm like, I just gave you the time it was. So I attribute even that to the fact that, you know, like I said, since first grade, I have really been really writing songs. And I don't mean like the roses are red, violets are blue type. Like I was really
Real
writing
stuff. Like you was
mature
tapped into
songs.
life.
Yeah, I remember being 9 or 10. No lie, I remember being 9 or 10. I had just moved to North Carolina with my mom from LA. Was going into high school as the youngest student at school, you know, and I was just writing and writing and writing, and my mom were riding and listening to my songs in the car, and she was like, "Are you going through these things?" She was like, "Are you actually going through these things so young? Like, how are you writing these mature songs about
Oh
love and even
wow.
making love even that early?" You know, I remember getting in trouble for writing my first like quote unquote nasty song at like 14. And so imagine I'm writing with my mom. I'm so excited to play her these jams, and her response is, "Are you doing
Whoa.
this?"
Yeah, whoa.
So, you know,
She like, oh God, already?
already, yeah, yeah, literally. And she's like, "I love the song, but I don't know if you should be talking about this. Like, don't let your grandmama hear this one."
Wow.
But, and even my mom, because my mom, you know, a lot of people really don't know that my mom is a writer, not just songwriter, but an author,
Nice.
poems, everything, and always has been. You know, she's from theater, she's trained, she's classical in every way, but she's also real hood and really a gangster. So I got the best of both worlds on that
Oh,
side.
I think it's good to have best of both worlds
Yeah, you
because
know,
at the end of the day, we can't just survive. We gotta thrive, right?
yeah, yeah,
And yeah, you gotta have it
yeah.
both so you can
You
survive.
know, it
Yeah.
definitely chose me. I was born to be a songwriter, without a doubt. It just so happens that I can sing. So,
That's a beautiful thing.
yeah,
I love music when it helps me travel.
yeah,
Right, if I'm listening to your music, and I always put space and all of that in there because I love space, I love astronomy, the stars and all of
yes,
that, I love science. So
yes.
if I can't like get into my spaceship and like take a trip, oh, shoulder shirt, yeah, thriving in a toxic world.
Oh yeah,
If I can't travel and go somewhere or think back on a place or imagine, I can't listen to it.
I'm right there with you. I'm
I
right there with you.
I can't listen to it, so it always needs a good story. I know that I describe how I felt about your music, definitely R&B with a mixture, it feels like, of hip hop. But if we were at a dinner party and someone was at the table and they had no idea, they never listened to your music, how would you describe it?
Huh, that's a great question. I would honestly, huh,
Because you know how sometimes when you're
that's a good question.
creating it, you're like, what do you think about it? Tell me what you hear. Oh, that's
You know,
exactly what I was feeling.
if I had to sum up, especially the stuff that I'm making now,
Hmm.
I would just say fresh. If you want to hear something fresh and new, I've got it at this point. That's really it. I feel like the sound I'm coming with now, I mean, it's influences from every genre. That's why it's hard to kind of put a label on it, and I've never been able to do that. Even when I was younger, and I would be going on these meetings, and they would ask me, "So, what is your sound?" Even then, it was like, man, I really do it
You're like,
all, you know. And then
oh,
when it comes to me, it's gonna be R&B, it's gonna be country, it's gonna be rock, it's gonna be pop, it's gonna be classical because I love strings. It's gonna be grunge sometimes. You really never know what you're gonna get, but you can believe it'll be like a really good jambalaya or a really good gumbo that just makes you feel
mm.
warm.
Oh yeah, because gumbo, it has a little bit of
A
everything
little
in
bit of
there, right?
everything. So maybe that's it. It's a little bit of everything, and I truly believe that I have something for everybody.
I
You know,
love
I
that.
think the thing about me is if you do put me on at a dinner party, I'm the guy that you can just let it ride. You know, because
Oh,
I'm gonna take you through every emotion. We're gonna be fast. We're gonna be slow. We're gonna be right in the middle sometimes. And being that I do write from a sense of love throughout, and kind of touch on every topic that comes with love, there's definitely something within that meal for everybody to pick out a little bit of their favorite. And that's really who I want to be as an artist, you know, especially now. I appreciate so much that we're in this DIY, independent artist,
oh,
genreless
isn't it a
time
beautiful
because,
time?
oh, I've waited 10 years for this time, to be honest. Because I've always known at some point, especially when social media rolled around about 2009, 2010, I was like, that time is coming. All we have to do is be ready. And literally, my brother and I have been preparing for this last 10 years,
Oh, it's a
especially for this
beautiful
time.
time.
So I'm
Oh, it's a
so
beautiful
excited, man.
time. Yeah.
So
I'm
excited for
excited
all of us.
too.
Yeah.
I'm excited too. I'm not a music artist, not nowhere close near. But I'm excited too. I think this is just a great time if you're a creative person,
Yes.
right? Like, look
Yes.
here. I would
Yeah.
have had to like say, hey, did you get my pitch for the show?
Right.
You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
no,
Yeah.
you're not really feeling that. Okay, cool. Now I can just say, hey, come on, we're gonna talk
Yeah.
about what I want to talk about, and no one can say that I can't talk about
It
it.
can't
So
be
I
stopped.
absolutely love it. Yeah, this is
Yeah.
a good
Me
time.
too.
Are there any social issues that you are very passionate about?
Huh. You know, for me, because I'm definitely like a human person. So any issues that really affect us as a whole together are the things that I really get behind. You know, it's hard sometimes, especially when you're an artist, because people want you to speak out about everything that they're going through. And what I always tell people is that you don't want someone that isn't as passionate about it to kind of influence how you feel, because, you know, that's never really been what I feel like my place. Even as a Scorpio, you know, we're really tight-lipped. We're kind of, because we all have strong beliefs, and I think we're in that
Yes.
time where everybody's kind of just throwing their beliefs against the board to see what stick. But then what I like to do is sit back and say, which of these things can I be a part of that I feel like can further us the most? You know, I think with, you know, the last political administration really exposed enough on the political side to get enough people talking about that. And for me, it's like I would love to just infuse a little bit more spirituality into these conversations. I think if I'm most passionate about anything is I would love to become a role model for people to do a little bit more self-love, a little bit more self-help.
Yes.
And you know, put down your phone sometimes and really just get into you. You know, people say get into nature a lot and all that, but for me, it's like you got to really take your time with you. You know, that's really what I'm most passionate about, kind of leading people away from the stress and the strife of the world and know that there's a universe inside of us as well that we kind of neglect that needs that love and nourishment, and I just consider that if a more of a majority of us woke up from that standpoint of I'm going to do whatever I can to be the best person I can be today, we would naturally see a lot of the social issues we deal with deteriorate just naturally, because we would realize that a lot of what we deal with is just due to a pent up anxiousness that we've all felt for a long time that are just now getting able to come out with the racial stuff,
That's
with,
true.
for women, for the transgendered, all these labeled people are finally getting an opportunity to share their voice. And I love it. So I
I
feel
did
like,
too.
you know, after that is going to be, now what are we all going to do together? And that's the time I really look so forward to, because I love how everyone is using their voice as individuals right now,
Yeah,
and the
so do
fact that
I.
I'm more of a group. I think that's where I realized, okay, let me take a step back, even as an artist, and help gather information so that I'm a better spokesperson for
Oh.
all of us, and even in my
Mm.
music, I do my best not to pick sides, not to give too much light to one particular issue, because I never want even my particular fans to get into that back and forth stuff. And, I want to really more to be about how can we come together to truly make the best impact for now and the future. I don't really get caught up in the whole let's just do it for our great, 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 great grandkids narrative either, because if we don't start now, who's to say we get there? So, you
Ooh,
know,
yeah,
it's real.
it definitely starts with us for sure. I know I hear people say like nature, because I'm a nature person, yes.
Oh, all day.
But when I go out in nature, it is to have that time with myself to connect,
Exactly.
right?
Exactly.
So I love like canoeing. I was just telling my son earlier, I was like, we got to go canoeing because we haven't been canoeing together.
Yes.
But
Yes.
we've done whitewater. I've done whitewater rafting, not with him. I've done whitewater
No
rafting.
joke.
I've done, oh, no joke at
No
all.
joke.
I've done river tubing, which I thought was the most craziest thing I've ever did in my
Woo!
life. Let me take you to that
Awesome.
experience, right?
Yes.
So we're driving, we get there, we pull up. The trees is beautiful. I'm like, oh, yes, we're doing this. But still in my mind, I'm thinking that the river tubing thing is going to be like, you know how you get in the tube in the pool? You
Yeah.
just be
Yeah.
chilling.
Just
That's
chill.
what that
Nope.
yeah, that nope, 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 nope. That's what I thought. So I'm seeing these big signs. Make sure you know how to swim. So my son, he's an avid swimmer. He can swim better than me. So I'm like, we good. He can swim, I can swim, we good. So we
Yeah.
get out there, right? We get out there, got my tube, we get out there, and the river just took me.
Yeah.
Like, right?
Yeah.
It just took me, and my son was way behind. I think he was maybe 10 at the time. I'm like, oh
Wow.
my God. I'm like, Anthony. And I'm like, hey. And he's like, he's just looking at me like, where are you going? So I tried to hold on to a branch, but I couldn't hold on. I was trying to
Wow.
hold on hard as I could. And it just, I had to let the tube go so I can catch up with him.
Yeah.
So eventually somebody did bring me a tube, but I always share this story in my workshops because that's what people do in life. Like they just sometimes just let life just take them wherever,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
they don't make their own decisions, and they try to hold on to things that they really don't have no control over and can't change. I took
Exactly.
so much out of that
That's beautiful.
experience.
So
It was so
beautiful.
awesome. But we go all the way down. My son ends up in a swamp. His tube takes him over into a swamp. Literally, it's like this thick, right?
Huh.
Yeah. So we ended up having to, he didn't want to swim. He freaking out because he had Bugphobia.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
bugs was like, this is crazy. And we ended up having to climb up the mountain because he didn't want to just swim right
Right.
over. And that's exactly what people do. They give up way too soon, not realizing that you're almost there. We were almost
Yeah.
at the end. We had already been out there like 3.5 hours, almost 4 hours.
Wow.
Yeah. But that was such an experience. And then when it was over, I wanted to do it again because it felt,
Yeah.
I don't know, it just felt free.
Yeah.
I felt,
Invigorating.
yeah, like someone charged me. Like I
Yes.
was like, yeah,
Yes.
this is nice. This is nice. What have you learned? And I'm going back to something else. Like,
I
what was
love it.
the biggest lesson that you have learned being in the music industry? What have you really drawn from it?
Wow. You know
I know it's
what
probably so
what the
many.
game has. Oh yeah, because again, man, I grew up in the biz.
Right.
But which is why for me, the biggest thing I've learned and what I teach my artists, handle your business first and have, at the very least, as much as a sense of your business as you can before you give any of it away. Because, I mean, we all hear the stories about bad contracts. We all hear the stories about royalties and points and all this
Yes.
stuff. The only way to keep yourself out of a situation like that is to be on top of it, be on top of your game. There's so much literature out there for you now. There's so many people online teaching and talking to you about how to be an independent artist first. That way, you always know you're protected, and then you can just create, always knowing that your art will be where it's supposed to be. It's handled, then you can be an artist as well. I took me 10 years to figure that out, and I've been through it all. I was shelved by a label for 2 years. I couldn't put the music out I wanted to, and for me, I'm the guy that I'll write a song today and want to put it out today because I just give like that. And even that for me was when I had to realize, okay, let's become as efficient as we can managing ourselves so that I know what I want from the people that I need to take me to the next level. And then from
Absolutely.
there, you can get into touring, then you can get into those lessons because I do believe these are things that you kind of have to learn on the ropes. You kind of have to go out there and pay your dues and learn those kinds of lessons. When it comes to touring, when it comes to keeping that lobby call up, when it comes to rest and health and making sure that your voice and
Oh,
your
that's so
body
important.
is sound, these are all things those are the top three things I would think the music industry has taught me, and to always be yourself. If you're always yourself, there's not a whole lot anyone can say to you about anything. If you're honest with yourself, a lot of people get caught up in wanting to be an artist, wanting to become a character. And I think what'll suit you better in the long run, if what you want is longevity, because if you don't, that's something that you have to accept that you want. I want to do this until I die. A lot of people want to do this for a couple of years, make enough money, and
Right.
not see. I want to be Rolling Stones. I want to be AC/DC. I want to tour until I can't anymore. So for me, that's like, got to be healthy for one, must be of sound mind, and you have to appreciate what comes with this job. That's the fame, that's the notoriety, that's the fact that you really can't be out here whiling and messing up, or you will be canceled now. It's not just
Really?
losing
No,
money, you'll get
quickly.
canceled now.
Yeah.
So, and to be in a constant state of practice and evolution, you know, that's five, I think. I gave you five pillars there.
Yeah, you gave it
So
to me.
that would be, all those combined are what make me the artist I am. And I was able to learn from the greats, not just my dad, not just my mom, but I really grew up getting to rub shoulders with people who I look up to so much and that were as cool in person as I thought they were, So even all that for me has definitely been what has kept me going on another level and has allowed me to be as open and honest with myself and my fans, just so there's no surprises from me other than the
Uh,
music.
oh, that is so
you know,
beautiful.
oh
Oh
yeah.
my goodness. Yes. Well, yeah, you definitely did that. Speaking of touring, you toured for 7 years
Yeah,
straight.
straight.
You went to different countries. Tell me about that experience.
Best
How did that?
experience ever. Literally
Oh,
the best, some of the best moments of my young
that
adult
is
life.
amazing.
Um, and again, not to, being able to do it with my dad for one, and then having my brother there, who's really my best friend on
Oh,
earth.
that is so beautiful.
Yeah, man, Tokyo to Europe to Africa.
Africa.
Yes, it was
Ah!
it's some of the best
Wow.
times ever. My brother and I, we talk about it often, how blessed we were, even in that time where traveling was even easier. You know what I mean? To be able to see these places, roam these places freely, get lost in Paris. I would get in trouble because I would not stay in the hotel room. I was not one of those people. Me and
You're
my
an
brother,
explorer.
oh, explorers. We would literally. I remember one night we're in Paris. we ended up walking maybe 2 or 3 hours and realized we have no idea how to read into these signs and how to get back. We found these underground clubs. We found these old churches that looked like
Oh, that is
Hunchback of Notre
so
Dame. It was,
beautiful.
it's experiences you really can't buy now. You know what
Isn't
I
that what
mean?
life is about?
And it's so
Create
what life is about,
experiences,
you
live in
know?
a moment, create experiences, live in a moment, because
Yes.
God willing, when you get older, you're gonna have nothing left but those
Yeah.
memories to talk
Yeah.
about. And I want to sit
Yeah.
and talk about river tubing. I want to sit and talk about having
Exactly.
a conversation with Brian McKnight Jr. on
Yes.
well, we were virtual and we were talking
Virtual.
on
Yeah.
my phone, right
This is the
in
future.
my living room, right? Like that's what I want. You want
I
to
love it.
create those experiences. So even though a lot of times I do a lot of things, but I feel the fear. Like I'm like, I'm really about to go out here in this tube, but I'm like, yep, because
Worth
I
it.
want to get that feeling and I want to know what it feels like when the river current takes me down
Yes.
the
Yes.
river.
It's all worth
Wow.
it. It's
Yep,
all
it's
worth it.
all worth it. I have to shout out my sponsor here. Let me tell you what that thing was that
Oh,
I
yes, please,
sent to you,
please.
right? Oh my goodness.
Awesome.
So, shout out to 10K Cards. This is amazing because, as we say, we're going virtual. This is digital. No
Yes.
more of those cards in your wallet. Hold on, let me get a card for you. Nope, nope, nope.
Right.
Now, all they have to do is scan the QR code there, right? And all of that information on this
Incredible.
lovely, yeah. It'll look like when
Incredible.
you put it as a bookmark on your phone, it'll literally look like you have your own app. No,
Wow.
no, not kidding, because I have it on my
That
phone.
is,
And my
I
son was like, "You have
literally
your
just,
own app?" And I was like, "Yeah,
awesome.
it's my own app. This is mine." So you got your Instagram, your Twitter, your Spotify, anything else that we need to add, please feel free to
Wow.
send us a message and we will
Thank you
be
so
happy
much.
to do so. So all the guests, they get these
Nice.
amazing, yeah, that's your QR code there.
That
Shout
is
out to 10K Cards. I know
awesome.
it's awesome, right?
Wow. Thank you so much. And I
It's
need
so
this bad
cool.
right now. So this is perfect timing.
See,
Yeah. So
yes.
perfect.
This
Thank
is
you so
I
much.
needed this conversation. This is perfect
Ah,
timing.
I love it. I love it
Yep,
so
yep.
much.
That is so cool. So how do you balance music with just everyday life? Because you're a dad, I hear.
Oh, yeah.
So how do you balance that?
It's what's interesting enough. Becoming a father is really what gave me that balance, because obviously, I mean, when my son was born, it changed my life, 24, 25. Um, when he came is when I really took it upon myself to say, look, man, we've done enough living wild for now. Let's it's time to get into our routine. It's time to again find that balance. And I attribute a lot of that to my little ones. I do everything I can to spend as much time with them before daddy goes to work.
Oh,
And then
lovely.
once daddy's at work, they know I'm working. And the last 2 or 3 months, I've been busier than ever, and having them as that anchor, and not only to help me find balance, but to give me that love, man, and that positive reinforcement, especially my little son now. It's really that thing that keeps me grounded. It really allows
Oh,
me to look myself in the mirror every day and make sure, bro, that you're being the best version of yourself for them, and that extends into my business, that extends into being up every day and making sure I handle my responsibilities, making sure that I'm healthy, again, making sure that I'm staying on top of all the things that I have to ensure that nothing cuts into their time. And that's huge, not to say that daddy doesn't miss some days, because I keep it as real as I can. That's the other thing about even being in the music business, wanting to be an artist and having kids, is you're going to have to recognize that sacrifice is going to have to happen sometimes. It's making sure
mm.
that you're in such a rhythm to where it doesn't have to happen that often. I do my best to never allow it to be one of those things where it's like I tell y'all I'm coming and then daddy doesn't show up,
I got
because I
it.
know how
Yeah.
that feels. So even that in itself really has allowed me, to find balance in other places as well. So I thank my kids a lot for giving daddy that motivation to be balanced. That's something I talk about in my book that's coming.
That is,
Obviously, it's like
oh, I can't wait.
um, a lot of people think that finding balance is tough, but it's really just the willingness to be balanced. Once you realize that, you know what you need to do already. It's human error, it's laziness most of the time that gets in there. You know, some days we might not want to work out, some days we might not want to do
Oh,
that work, but
I don't
gotta
always
do
want
it.
to do it, but I do it anyway.
Gotta do
Yeah,
it.
I don't always feel
As
like
long
it.
as the amount of times that you decide to do it come in a mountain-sized way outweigh the times you don't. You
Yeah.
know, that one day you might need to take a break. You know, that one instance you might need to just take a pause. You know, you never want to overwork, but, you know, I
Mm.
think we all have that capacity within us, even just as humans, to kind of push the limits a little bit. So,
Oh, I've
you
done
know,
that. I've done that.
um,
I have done that. Push the
oh
limit.
yeah,
In the beginning of my entertainment career, so to speak,
yeah,
I was so grateful for the opportunity that I put my whole self into it.
yeah,
And
yeah,
because I put my whole self into it, I didn't always balance,
yeah,
being a mom and all the other relationships and things that were in my life that I needed
yeah,
to pay attention to too. Somehow I got lost for a
yeah. Oh, it
while.
happens.
It was like tunnel vision focus publicist,
Hmm.
tunnel
Hmm.
vision focused publicist. And then while I was doing that, other things were falling apart. So I
Yeah.
think that is absolutely amazing when we come to a part in our life where we were able to find that balance. And that is amazing that you were able to find that. I was
Oh,
talking to I was talking to Anthony Hamilton's son, and yes, I'm going to put the name because it makes sense when we're talking
yeah.
about entertainment. And he was telling me about, his experience with his dad and growing up, and he understood that his dad had found his
Yeah.
purpose, right? And
Yeah.
that when they spent, it almost made me feel, to me, it felt like the time that he spent with his dad made that time feel so valuable that even though he was out on the roads and doing his thing with his career, he still never felt that lack. So I think that that's what the balance is, because we
Oh
can't really
yeah.
put time, right?
Yeah.
Time, I mean, it's just
Exactly.
absolutely an
You're so right.
illusion, right?
You're so right. Yes.
Tell me, like, what are you working on now? What do we have to look forward to?
Man, so 2021 is gonna it's gonna be it's gonna be good. I think it's gonna be
It's
great.
gonna be
I've
good.
got, no lie, maybe 8 or 9 projects coming. Three or
No
four
way.
collaborations with a couple of my favorite producers that I've worked with over the last year. One of which being my buddy DJ Please, and our next project will actually be our sixth project we've dropped in maybe a year and a half, 2 years, completely independent. And I think this one will really be the one that we put a real push behind and finally get it out there. We've done almost 1 million streams independently. So we're really humbled by that. My brother and I's rock band has 2 albums coming, Broken Robots. We're back. That I'm really, really excited about, honestly. One of which is going to be a visual album. My buddy Jamal Joseph is choreographing for me, and no one's seen me dance yet, so this will be a really awesome
Uh,
introduction for that.
this is gonna be great.
Oh, I'm so excited. And then for myself personally, as a solo, I have a piano-driven EP that's coming in January. Followed by what I'm guessing, no, actually followed by another concept project I'm working on for my dog lovers out there, because I'm a dog lover, called
You
Being the
are.
Mayor. Oh yeah. And it's just about me and my little dog. Like imagine a grown-up Disney movie about a
I
guy and
love
his
Disney
dog.
movies. Yeah.
Um, and I'm gonna make the soundtrack for what that movie would be.
Oh,
That's gonna
nice.
be, I'm so excited about that. And then followed by that is what I'm guessing, what I'm hoping will be that Brian McKnight Jr. debut album in the summertime. That's really my first official LP release. So that coupled with my book, The Player's Handbook to Finding Happiness, that's all I'm going to be doing next year. And then hopefully touring once we're out of this pandemic, and I'm going to
Players
tour for
Handbook
10,
to
20 years straight.
the player. Oh, right, exactly. Players Handbook to Finding Happiness.
Oh
I
yeah.
love that. Talk
Oh
about creating. See, I think that this time has been so amazing, right?
yes, yes.
We could talk about the negative, but I don't want to talk about that part. I just want to talk about what's good and what's
Yeah.
working.
Oh
And
yeah.
yeah, this year I became a best-selling author. I was able
Beautiful.
to create this amazing Instagram live conversations, which I absolutely love. I think I've completed about 3 books this year, but one in particular I'm
Awesome.
working on right now, The Mirror That You Don't Want to See. And I got that idea from a very dear loved one's funeral. I went to her funeral and it
Wow.
just really did something to me because I said, wow, she had all of these dreams, you know, but there were so many things that was getting in the way that I feel like she
Yeah.
wasn't looking at and she wasn't paying attention to and she didn't answer to it, right?
Woo.
And I was more angry at the fact that she didn't do the things that she said she was going to do.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I started this book right away. I'm already halfway done. I'm so excited. And
Incredible.
I'm just grateful, you know, it's all of these projects is amazing. But what the most thing I'm most grateful for is
Yeah.
being alive and well. I'm grateful for this moment because it's so crazy how like you can get off the phone with someone and they're just gone just like
Yeah.
that.
You
You know what I
never
mean? I
know.
don't take any of this for granted. What is the thing, I guess, for you that you're most grateful for this year?
Wow. I'm honestly right there with you when in terms of I'm just thankful to be here, man. Again, as a Scorpio, death is something that I myself have always not struggled with, but it's on my mind constantly. I'm always thinking about it, and it doesn't scare me, but it's
But you know
definitely a
it's there.
driving
It
force,
exists.
to
Yeah.
make sure that I soak up as much as I can of this life, man, especially as an artist, because what will last is our art. Our legacy is what makes us immortal. That's the one thing we do know for sure at this point. We do have something that extends past us. It's another thing which I'm so thankful that this is what I do, making music, being a social person like this that can potentially motivate and inspire billions of people. I think the fact that I am still here through all this madness, through even the insane life that I've lived, the things I've been blessed to live through, it would be remiss of me not to reciprocate this energy with as much people as I can. And I'm
Yes.
so, so thankful and so, so grateful that I'm here to do it. That I
I
feel
am
like I was
so
blessed
happy
to
to
do
hear
it,
that. I am
definitely.
so happy to hear that because that is definitely the mission for these
Yeah.
conversations is to inspire. You know,
Oh,
to my hope is to inspire. My hope is to motivate. My hope is to bring a light into someone's dark world because
yeah,
it's not all good for everybody. And I know that,
exactly.
you know, it's not all great. Someone may be in a position right now where it's not that good.
Yeah.
And it's good to have leaders such as yourself to step up
Thank
and
you.
say, yeah, I'll give Sherontelle an hour of
Yeah.
my time to talk about choose your
Anytime.
path. You know, when I had them put this together, this flyer, right? At the top there, choose your path, because I really honestly believe, I know that it sounds like an infomercial, but it's really real life. Like you can really choose how you want to
I love
live
it.
your life. Like every thought, every movement that I made probably 10 years ago is what I'm living right now,
Yeah.
right? All
Yes.
of the thoughts that we have manifested at this point. So, not just to choose your path, but the path of a musical renaissance man. I
Yes.
put that there just
I
for
know.
you.
Thank you so much. I
just
really
just
appreciate that.
just for you. Let me look and see. I know we're getting close to the end. I want to see if we have any questions. Thank you, everybody. I really appreciate everyone that's
Yes.
on
Thank you.
here. Brothers from Cisco Genuine, now to add to the list. Oh, that is so nice. He said, my Be More Brothers, Rough in Cisco Genuine, now Be in Junior, to add
Awesome.
to the list. How
Thank you.
nice.
Thank you. Thank you.
2021. Yes, Genesis movement. I don't really see. Let me see. Da, 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 da. I think someone said, hey, would you sing for us? I think I seen something like that. No, I'm not making that up either.
Awesome.
Are you ready? You can sing. You'll sing for 60 seconds.
Yeah, I can sing for you.
Oh, okay, cool. 60 seconds.
Um,
Drop it. No.
let me
No.
see. Let me see. Um, I'll give you the Christmas song. Why not? It's the holidays.
Oh, yes, it's the
Yeah.
holidays.
Me and my
Yes.
buddies just dropped this jam, Christmas Eve with you. See if I can remember the words.
Okay.
Um, don't need no snow, baby. Just candle glow as I wrap you up in my arms, girl. You will see just why I didn't ask for much this year. All I need, I've got right here. There's no place I'd rather be than spending Christmas Eve with you. Do 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 do. You're like a miracle, standing underneath the mistletoe. And I can't help but thank the Lord for this moment as your lips meet mine again. You'll find why I didn't ask for much this year. All I need, I've got right here. There's no place I'd rather be than spending Christmas Eve with you. Do 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 do. Yeah.
And it's like, and on and on and on. Thank
I love it.
you.
No,
Wow,
thank
that was
you. Thank you.
so beautiful.
Thank
Woo!
you.
Like I'm a big Broadway fan. I go to Broadway musicals all the time. I
Love it.
love like the stage and just I absolutely love it. And I need live music in my life. So thank you so much. Yes,
Thank
your
you.
voice,
You're
you said
welcome.
your voice is
Thank you
absolutely
so much. Thank you
amazing.
so
It
much.
definitely is. Oh my
Thank you.
goodness, that was so great. So at the end of the show, wow, I am going to just shout out my sponsor one more time. Thank you
Yes.
so much,
Shout it
TK Cards,
out.
for this
Thank you
amazing
so
digital
much.
business card. If anyone, if you have a business, you need to, we're going digital. So click
Yes.
the link in my bio so you can order yours today. Thank you so much. Like you say, I can't wait to see you on tour. Yeah, I'm going to
Thank you.
definitely make one of them.
Oh, yeah.
Absolutely. This is absolutely amazing. Thank you so much, everyone, for the donations. But at the end of the show, I always ask if you can give one word or a sentence to help us, as I know you've dropped so many gems, but if you could just give one word or a sentence that can help us navigate as we continue to move forward.
Definitely.
Yes.
Don't let anything stop you that doesn't physically stop you. If it doesn't physically alter your path, chances are you're stronger than it. You can fly past it. Any obstacle, when you think about it, is usually right here. Anything that physically stops you, different situation. But if it
Yeah,
doesn't,
definitely.
boom, bust through that digital wall, bust through that mental wall, and get to the other side, because on the other side, that's destiny.
Oh, that's free. You feel free.
Yes.
That is so awesome. Thank you
Yes.
so much, Brian
Thank you,
McKnight
really.
Jr.
This was so great. Did not feel
This
like an
has
hour
been
at all.
no, see, it just goes by. That's because this is all an illusion.
Yeah,
Look,
I
you
love
see
it.
my
Come on.
watch I have on.
Hey, you know what? I'm right there with you.
Right, exactly.
I love
Love,
it.
light, and energy to you. I'm sure
Likewise.
we will talk again
Oh,
along
for
this
sure.
journey as you continue to create. Thank
For
you
sure.
so
Thank you
much.
so much
And
for
thank you,
having me.
everybody. Have an amazing
Yeah.
evening.
Stay safe,
Bye-bye.
y'all.